The Hitchhiker's Web, a horror tale. On a lonely stretch of road, a young woman named Arachne waited patiently by the roadside, her thumb out, hoping for a ride. The sun was beginning its descent, casting long shadows across the asphalt. Soon, a car driven by a man named Seth approached. He noticed Arachne and, feeling a mix of curiosity and empathy, decided to pull over. "Need a ride?" Seth asked, his tone friendly. "Yes, thank you," Arachne replied softly, climbing into the passenger seat. As they drove off, the sun dipped lower, and they began to make small talk, getting to know each other as the miles passed by. As they chatted, a small spider appeared on the dashboard. Seth noticed it and instinctively reached out to kill it. "Hold on, let me get that for you," he offered. But Arachne quickly stopped him, her voice gentle yet firm. "No, don't. I'll take care of it." She carefully picked up the spider, cradling it in her hand. "I'll let it out when we stop," she added, her gaze lingering on the tiny creature. Seth glanced at her, slightly unnerved by her calmness, but said nothing. They continued driving as the sky darkened, the road stretching endlessly before them. As night fell, Seth decided to stop at a secluded, old-fashioned hotel, its neon sign flickering in the distance. They were both tired after the long drive. "I'll get us both rooms for the night," Seth offered, and Arachne nodded gratefully. He returned with 2 keys from the hotel clerk and handed one to Arachne. They exchanged goodnights and went to their respective rooms. The hotel was quiet, and soon Seth was asleep in his bed. But his rest was shattered by blood-curdling screams coming from Arachne's room. Jolted awake, Seth jumped out of bed, threw on a shirt, and rushed to her door. It was slightly ajar. Pushing it open slowly, he was met with a horrific sight, a person cocooned in a thick spider web, and the room crawling with spiders. His heart pounded in his chest as he took in the terrifying scene, and before he could react, everything went black as he fainted. Seth awoke and drenched in sweat, his mind spinning with confusion. He looked around, disoriented. Suddenly, Arachne was standing in the doorway, her expression calm. "You were yelling in your sleep. A bad dream?" she asked, her voice soothing. "It felt so real," Seth murmured, still shaken by the vividness of what he had seen. "Dreams can be like that," Arachne replied. "But you seem okay now." With that, she left the room. Seth, still feeling uneasy, quietly made his way to her room. To his astonishment, everything was neat and tidy, no webs, no sign of anything strange. The room looked perfectly normal. As they checked out the next morning, the hotel clerk mentioned something that sent a chill down Seth's spine. "Strange thing, one of the housekeepers went missing last night." Seth's heart raced, but he kept quiet, exchanging a nervous glance with Arachne. They continued their journey, driving down the road as if nothing had happened. Later that day, as evening approached, they stopped at a small diner to get something to eat. The warm glow of the setting sun cast long shadows as they entered and took a seat at a booth. They ordered food, trying to shake off the unsettling events of the night before. As they ate, a rough-looking biker approached their table, his demeanor aggressive. "Hey, girl, why don't you come with me?" he demanded, eyeing Arachne with an unsettling grin. "She's with me," Seth interjected firmly. "We don't want any trouble." The biker sneered. "You can leave, but she stays." Arachne, remaining calm, turned to Seth. "Go wait in the car. I'll handle this," she said softly. Seth hesitated, feeling uneasy, but eventually he did as she asked. As he walked out of the diner, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. He sat in the car, fidgeting nervously, when suddenly he heard distant, muffled yelling and screams coming from inside the diner. Panic surged through him, and he rushed back to the diner. Throwing open the door, he was met with a horrifying sight. The diner was filled with enormous spiders, and the bikers were wrapped in cocoons, hanging from the ceiling, their struggles futile. Seth stumbled back, overwhelmed by terror. Without another thought, he sprinted back to his car, jumped in, and sped off into the night, leaving Arachne behind. Finally reaching the safety of his home, Seth was shaken but relieved. He couldn't stop thinking about what he had witnessed. Needing answers, he sat down at his computer and began searching for the meaning of the name, Arachne. His heart sank as the search results appeared. Arachne, a name from ancient mythology, was associated with spiders. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. Everything he had experienced suddenly made sense. Seth leaned back in his chair, exhausted and overwhelmed by the horrifying truth. He knew no one would believe his story, so he decided to tell no one. As he prepared for bed, his thoughts raced with images of spiders and webs. He glanced at his nightstand and saw a small spider crawling across it. For a moment, he considered smashing it, but he ultimately decided against it, too tired to care. He turned off the light and lay down, trying to convince himself it was all over. But as he drifted off to sleep, the spider on his nightstand began to grow larger, its legs elongating, its body twisting into a grotesque humanoid form. It was Arachne, her sinister chuckle filling the room as she loomed over him. Arachne says, "You left me behind back there. Now I'll leave you behind here." Seth thought he had left her behind, but some things you can never escape. The next morning, Seth's room was eerily quiet. The bed was empty, and the sun's first rays filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow. But as the light touched the room, it revealed something horrifying. Thick spiderwebs covered every surface, and in the center of the room, a large cocoon hung from the ceiling. Inside, Seth's terrified face was barely visible through the layers of silk. Seth thought his nightmare was over, but some nightmares never end. In a world where even the kindest gestures can lead to the darkest fates, remember, you never know who or what you might pick up on the road.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. And turn on notifications to never miss an episode.